for your invitation to experience the clink, the chaos, and all of the empowerment you desire. There's a secret in the bottle, the bottle, the bottle. I just can't get a little clink with chaos, you know we got some. Hella hood with class, baby, I'm 2 in 1. Come sip and savor so we can spill some. And if you lost your way, we'll leave the light on. There's a secret in the bottle, the bottle, the bottle. I just can't get enough. Champagne Secretzz. What's going on, Champagne Gang? FizzFam, Confidante. Welcome back to another Secretzz Spill. Did you guys enjoy the Secretzz Spill from last night? Dealing with the fact that we all could be hacked right now and not even know it. All could be watched through our computers, through our phones, through our TVs. Goodness gracious, is anything safe and sacred anymore? Clearly not if you're using smart devices. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm the Empress, and you are joining me in the chalet located in Champagne City, baby. You see it, you see it. Over here, we get classy with a twist, huh? A little clink with chaos with a side of charm. So if you're ready to sip, savor, and spill, baby, grab your glass and come on in. As for me, today I'm sipping on my Moet and Chandon Imperial Rosé. You see it, you see it. Now make sure your glasses are filled to the rim. Grab you one of those Chase lounges on the way in. Speak to a few people and say hi. Cause we're a family over here. We laugh, we key, we have fun, we communicate, we chat, and we get life lessons and wisdom all at the same time. So you are welcome. Come on in and join us. Now for today, we're delving into the spooky. Ooh. So I don't know if you've heard about this thing called the Mandela effect. But baby, when I heard about it, oh, it blew me. It took me all sorts of fads. And ever since I saw the movie The Matrix, I've been inclined to believe that we all taking the blue pill right now. And it made me start looking at the reality around me. And I don't know about y'all, but something weird is going on. Something strange. You got skinwalkers, you got the military confirming UFO sightings, you got sounds coming out the ocean they can't identify, you got the sky flipping on and off like light switches. What is going on? Because this world is weird. Baby, this a different world from where I came from. Totally different. I'm not okay with it. I'm ready to say beam me up, Scotty, which apparently is a part of the Mandela effect as well, because they claim that saying never occurred. So if you don't know what the Mandela effect is, it's just that stuff that we remember that they're claiming never happened. So let's take a look at some of these videos, and I want you to drop a 1 in the chat if you remember things being a certain way in these videos and it changed. Every time we run across the clip and you adamantly remember it being one way and now it's changed, I need you to drop a 1 in the chat. Alright? If you're ready, let's get ready to get into it. But first, I need you to take those glasses and raise them high for our dose of empowerment. Ready? You are the architect of your own destiny. Within you lies a reservoir of strength, wisdom, and intuition. Trusting yourself is not just a choice. It's a powerful declaration of your inherent capabilities. When doubt creeps in, remember that you have navigated through every challenge you faced this far. Each decision, whether right or wrong, has shaped the resilient, insightful person you are today. Embrace your journey, for it's uniquely yours, filled with lessons and triumphs that only you can claim. Repeat after me. I trust myself completely. My intuition guides me. My strength empowers me, and my wisdom leads me to success. Here's to you, Confidant, for you are worth it. So now, y'all, before we continue, I have to do a quick little correction because one of my confidants told me to put some respect on their name. She didn't say that for real, y'all. I'm just playing. But she did let me know that I pronounced her name wrong. So I do want to do a correction in this video, as I told her that I would. So Miss Nessie B 101, which is actually Niecy B 101, please forgive me for the mispronunciation, because you are valued and you are valuable to this space, Miss Niecy. Thank you for being a part of the Champagne Gang and the FizzFam. Thank you for all of your contributions, your watch hours, your comments, your likes. You amazing. She is one of my top bottle girls. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. I like to keep my core people close and let them know they are valued. Because when I start back doing my lives, when I get this internet thing under control, my core people are going to be the ones that I look at to make moderators for my channel. Because you done stuck with me for the longest. And those who show you loyalty are those you show the benefits of that loyalty. That's on me, baby. Let's get into the video.
Business. I'm looking for books for my kids. I see this children's atlas and I'm interested. I'm flipping through and I get to a world map. I'm looking at the continents and I see something a little strange. Do you guys see anything strange about this? What is Australasia? And whatever it is, since when has it been depicted on a world map? And this is the book. It's the Smithsonian Children's Illustrated Atlas. So I call my husband over and I'm like, have you ever heard of Australasia? And he was like, what? I do the same thing. I opened the book. I said, do you see anything weird? And he was like, no. And I'm like, I point to Australia. And I'm like, what is this? And he said, Australia. I'm like, okay, read the word. He's like, Australia? I'm like, no, read it better. Like, read. And he's like, Australasia? So I Google it. And yes, it's a thing. And Australasia has been a thing since the 19th century. But when I look at maps, Australasia is not on there. It's Australia. So I need somebody to explain this to me.
What's good, my people, my peeps? So I want you to see this new Mandela effect, if you haven't seen it already or heard about it. So Australia is no longer Australia. It is Australasia. So look at this lady pointing to this book that she bought out of a store with Australia not being the name. Okay, so what I did was went to my phone. We're going to go into Google. Okay, this is the new name. Y'all see it? Well, I went straight into the phone. Come on, this is a Mandela effect, my people, my peeps. You know what I talked about last night in my live stream. If you haven't checked out that live stream, go back and check it out. It's very informational. And just drop your thoughts. But yeah, so Australia is Australasia. But then I went and I was looking and I saw it on some maps. But then on some other maps, it was Australia. Tell me, have you witnessed this new Mandela effect? And much, much love.
Okay? And one of my favorite songs in the 90s was Donkey Butt. It was always spelled D-O-N-K-E-Y. Always, always. It was never spelled D-U-N-K-I-E. Ever, ever. I want to show y'all something. Alexa, play Donkey Butt by 12 Gauge. What is going on with this? Somebody get 12 Gauge on the phone. Because I need to speak to him right now, because I know they never spelled that shit like that. Ever, ever.
Out there, because my mind is like fucking blown right now. I don't know if this is some Mandela effect thing or not, but I want to talk about Queen's song, We Are the Champions. You guys know how at the end of the song, Freddie Mercury says, of the world, we are the champions of the world. He fucking says it. We all do it. We all say that at the end of the song, right? Well, why would we all do that unless he did that thing? He said it. It's in the song. Here's the fucked up part. It's not. Like, if you go watch it on YouTube or Spotify or listen to it somewhere, he doesn't say it. Only, allegedly, in one live performance did he ever say it at the end of the song. But if you watch the video from that live performance, people are waiting. They're like waiting to say it with him. It's like they know he's gonna say it, but then everywhere else he doesn't say it. Even in the lyrics, it's not there. What the fuck? Our current reality is saying that this did not happen. He never said it. And of course, it's always somebody who's fucking dead and you can't verify the shit. That's where this got the Mandela effect name, is Nelson Mandela died in the fucking prison in the 90s, but he didn't. Just help me not feel crazy. I don't want to feel alone here. I know I'm not alone, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia.
Fruit of the Loom absolutely had a cornucopia on it. I don't give a damn what nobody said. But how many of y'all, actually remember Nelson Mandela passing away in prison? Because I remember that. I remember being shocked when they showed him out of prison, because I remembered articles of him passing away in prison. How many of y'all in the comments remember that too? Drop that one if you can remember hearing that Nelson Mandela passed away in prison. We're going to get into the cornucopia thing in a minute, but let me know. Let's continue.
Fuck you.
Say I didn't warn you. The first one is Mr. Rogers. Why they gotta mess with Mr. Rogers? If you've ever watched the show, then you know. It starts out with, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood." Except no, it doesn't. Not in our current reality. In our current reality, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
They lying. I don't care what they say, what they try to convince us. They're not going to play with my childhood like this. Baby, because I used to watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Sesame Street, baby, faithfully, and Reading Rainbow. Holla if you hear me. Yep, okay. Sing it with me in the comments.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
Is that how y'all remember it? Because that's how I remember it. Where the hell did this neighborhood come from? They trying to convince us all that we crazy.
Yeah, this, not the. Like, what do you mean, this neighborhood? I don't even live in that neighborhood. I just think the neighborhood because it's everybody's neighborhood. So yeah, if you remember It's a Beautiful Day in the neighborhood, not this neighborhood, then you probably jumped into the same parallel reality that I did. And then we've got Arthur, everybody's favorite aardvark on PBS. Another theme song. Hey, what a wonderful kind of day where we can learn to laugh and play and get along with each other. Except they never said laugh and play. The line in our current reality has always been work and play, where we can learn to work and play. Those kids aren't working. I mean, the brain had a job at that ice cream shop at that one time, but like that's not the point. So if you remember laugh and play and not work and play, then you jumped into the same parallel reality as I did. And finally, we have Lamb Chop. This is the song that never ends, 'cause it goes on and on, my friend. Did that sound familiar? If it did, then you're not from this current reality, are you? Because here, it's the song that doesn't end, not the song that never ends. That's an important distinction, and I'm mad about it. So, which ones of these did you remember? I need to know.
It was definitely laugh and play. We was kids. Why would we even be thinking about working? The only work we heard about was with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, because they was whistling while they worked. And unfortunately, that's all of the song that I remember, because Yin Yang Twins messed that up for me. So now I can't remember how the song went. But let's continue.
The year that you turned 24 years of age. Because I guess how the saying goes is, whatever that song was, it's going to dictate what your 2024 year, this year, is actually going to be like.
I turned 24 years old in 1996. The number one song of 1996 was the Macarena. I'm not really sure what that means on how my year is going to play out. But let's talk about the dance. You guys remember the dance, right? Did you see what I saw? There appear to be some moves missing from the Macarena. I just learned that the Macarena is a Mandela effect. I thought maybe I was just doing the moves wrong. But apparently there are a whole fuck ton of other people that are doing it wrong too. How is this possible? It's not just people. It was in movies. They were doing the Macarena wrong too. Like, what the fuck is going on? Some people think it's some kind of conspiracy, trying to see how much shit they can make us remember differently than how it actually happened. But that's the original video. How is it that everybody is doing it differently than the original? Like, what explanation do you have for that? They couldn't have gone back and re-recorded the original video to fuck with us, because those people would now be 27 years older than they were in 1996. So how do we make sense of this shit? Better yet, what does that mean for me? The original song is about some girl who cheats on her boyfriend and has a threesome with two of his friends after he enlists in the army. That's probably not how my year year is going to play out. So does this mean that I'm going to become a Mandela effect? Are you guys going to remember me differently? Am I going to remember me differently? Fucked.
If you remember watching Shazam in the 90s with Sinbad the actor, well, the movie never existed.
You all remember a movie called Shazam with Sinbad playing a genie? You know what? The movie was never real. It was, the rumor started in 2009. I don't know where it came from, but it's not real.
Millions of people remember watching this movie, but it never existed. Apparently, it's a Mandela effect, a collective false memory of something that a lot of people remember, but it never happened. Just like, for instance, the Mandela effects of the Monopoly guy with the monocle, the Berenstain Bears with an E, and George the monkey with the tail. These things never happened. And the thing is, I recently found videos of people who actually have a VHS tape of the Shazam.
I still don't understand the whole issue with this movie Shazam with Sinbad.
If it never existed, how come a lot of people still have the VHS tape? Are we in a different timeline? Time travel? Parallel universe? What's going on?
But yet it never existed.
Strange, isn't it? But it gets even stranger. I found an original scene from the Shazam movie. In it, several Mandela effects.
What are you doing? Dad could have thrown out all of Mom's stuff. He just could have. James, there's gotta be something he forgot here. Something real we can remember her by.
George the monkey with the tail. What?
Hey, we have our memories. They're real. No one can take that from us. Yeah, clean this up. Can you imagine if Dad saw this mess?
Press pause, because this one I don't want you to miss, because we're going to discuss it a little bit more as we get into further clips. But do you see this box of Fruit Loops right here? So in this twisted ass reality that we currently live in, apparently they're saying that Fruit Loops was never spelt like this. In this current reality, it's spelled Fruitloops. I clearly remember it being spelled fruit like the fruit.
Bless you. What is that?
Berenstain Bears with an E. What? Nelson Mandela dead at 68. Last but not least, Carmen Sandiego with a yellow suit. Why would someone leave so many Mandela effects inside of a movie that never existed? What is going on here? Time travel or what?
Some TikTok BS. It actually started in the 80s, and it gets pretty deep and wide. I know that a lot of people remember the Monopoly guy with a monocle, or little stuff like Pikachu's tail, the spelling of Looney Tunes, and the Fruit of the Loom logo. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, Mom, what is that thing? And she said, it's a cornucopia. And that's where I learned the word cornucopia. It was from the Fruit of the Loom logo, by the way. And what about Queen? Tell me, is there something missing from the end of this song? All of you wanted to say, of the world, right there, and I know it. I like turtles. And that'll bring us to our next Mandela effect. This is a Mandela effect personally in my life, and you can choose to believe me or don't. I don't care. But this is a Mandela effect that happened to me. You see this railing here for this turtle dock? I had one of these turtle docks for my turtles, and I used to take this apart, this railing, I'd take it out of there and clean it all the time, and it was metal. And I could remember the tinking of the metal on the sink as I would clean this and put my turtle dock back in. Well, I had to buy a new turtle dock because this dock was melting from the heat lamp, and I had to buy a whole new dock. So I did. I bought this brand new dock. I got this dock right here, broke it out of the box, pulled that railing out, and they had started making it out of plastic. So I was like, no. I threw that plastic one straight in the trash, and I went over to my tank to grab the metal railing out to put it to the new dock. Because I was like, I want to use the metal one. It's sturdier, and I just like it to be metal. Well, I went over to my tank, and I went to grab it out, and sure enough, it was plastic too. So if you have any personal Mandela effects like that have happened, please put them in the comments or make a reply video about it. I want to know. And here's another thing about the Mandela effect. Quit trying to find proof for the Mandela effect. There will be no proof. Here, the thing is, right now we live within a timeline or a universe where this Monopoly guy never existed. So we cannot find a Monopoly box with him on it living within a timeline or a universe where he just simply was never put on a box with a monocle. So it is actually impossible if we are talking about timeline jumps or even time travel. It is impossible to be living within a timeline where something had never existed in the first place and finding evidence of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? All we have is our own memory as that proof. Do you trust your memory? Do you trust what you saw with your own eyes in another timeline? All we have brought is our memories with us if it is timeline jumps. Which also makes me think about these God versus no God debates. Like, if you're debating someone who does not believe in God and they're like, prove it, prove it, prove it. Well, if you had a Holy Spirit experience anything like me, well, he proved himself to me in a way that it was so personal to me. It's evidence to me. But the thing is I can give my testimony, but my testimony is no evidence to you. When God revealed himself to me, it was personal and it was evidence for me building our personal relationship. So I can't use my evidence. I can use a testimony and people can choose to believe it or not believe it, just like the turtle dock. I told you about my turtle dock experience. You can choose to believe it or not believe it. That's up to you, and that's fine. Same goes for the Mandela experience. All we have is our memory. Now, when we're kids, we retain information in a different way. From age 1 to 5, we are a sponge. And our memory, we can trust that. You know, we have memories of things as children that we know for a fact, especially when kids repeat stuff. We're a sponge and we repeat it. This is the song that never ends. I walked around singing that, driving my mom crazy when I was little. And it was never. It wasn't doesn't. It wasn't doesn't, dog.
Look, stop trying to prove to others that God exists. You are the proof that God exists. You don't need an outside influence. The simple fact that you're able to wake up in the morning is proof that God exists. The simple fact that not only are you able to wake up in the morning, but you're able to get up out of your bed without needing a computer chip to tell your legs to move, to tell your eyes to move. The simple fact that you're able to open your mouth and words come out without a processing system is proof enough that God exists. The simple fact that your body is able to begin healing itself on the inside. The fact that it has blood vessels set up to fight off infection on the inside. You can't tell me that a simple big boom in the sky created individuals with these capabilities on their own. The fact that your body is able to eliminate waste from on the inside to keep toxicity from building up on the inside of your body is proof enough that God exists. Stop trying to prove what's already been proven by your simple existence.
Mandela effect is real, then I think I just came across what caused it to happen in the first place. And just like most things surrounding this phenomena, it will leave you with more questions than answers. The term Mandela effect was first used in 2010 by Fiona Broome, but it was 1 year earlier in 2009 when she first became aware about a false memory involving Nelson Mandela. The difference in the years is important because when people search for the cause of the Mandela effect, they typically start in 2010, but they're wrong. They're supposed to start in 2009. That's because there was an incident that happened at CERN with the Large Hadron Collider in 2009. One of the sections dangerously overheated, and when one of the technicians went to investigate what happened, they discovered pieces of a baguette that a bird flying overhead had dropped into the collider. As if that isn't strange enough, the event caused multiple credited physicists to speculate on where that bread-dropping bird originated. Beck Nielsen of the Niels Bohr Institute in Copenhagen and Misao Ninomiya of the Yukawa Institute for Theoretical Physics in Japan believe that the bird may have been sent from the future in an attempt to sabotage what's going on at CERN. Both of those physicists are part of a coalition of physicists who believe the experiments happening at CERN are extremely detrimental to the survival of our universe. There have been multiple bizarre incidents over the years that have caused the Hadron Collider to stop operation, and they believe that the events surrounding those shutdowns are caused from people in the future using time travel as an effort to sabotage the operation. Keep in mind, these aren't just some random wackos on TikTok spewing nonsense. These are respected, credited physicists who are theorizing these things. If these efforts from the future are causing things to change during our present, then they have inadvertently locked themselves in a paradox, because every time they send something back in time and delay the operation of the Large Hadron Collider, they are altering the natural course of events in our present timeline, ultimately creating the Mandela effect. Of course, this is all strictly hypothetical because we don't know for sure if the Mandela effect is an actual event. And if it is, it may have all started with a bird dropping a baguette on the Large Hadron Collider.
Hello. New Mandela effect? Or just slip-in memories? Actually, there's quite a few little new Mandela effects. Why don't we go through them all? But let's first, let's start with the one that initiated Auntie even wanting to make this video in the first place. One that it has to do everything to do. I'm done. The Mandela effect of when Auntie used to be able to talk. Do you remember those times? Good times. No, I digress. Walmart. Are you from the dimension? The cool one, where Jiffy was still peanut butter, where Fruit of the Looms definitely always have had a cornucopia around the fruit, where Darth Vader said, "Luke, I am your father," and the dimension where Hannibal Lecter gave us all nightmares when he said, "Hello, Clarice." Not, "Good morning."
Press damn pause, because y'all not gonna play with me about Hannibal Lecter. I am an avid lover of all things Hannibal and Lecter. Do you hear me? How many Silence of the Lambs fans do I have in the chat? How many Hannibal fans? Because part 2 was my favorite. So you're not just gonna tell me I didn't hear and see what I heard and saw when it came to Hannibal of the Lecter. We're not gonna do that. You're not more than one generation from poor white trash, are you, Agent Starling? Oh, you're not gonna play with me. Not with Hannibal. We're not gonna do that. A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava bean and a nice Chianti. Don't play with me. Please don't play with me. He abso-damn-lutely said, "Hello, Clarice."
Ooh, bone chilling. Journey with me into the world where Walmart once upon a time had fish tanks. Yes, in fact, yes it did. Once upon a time, Walmart sold fish. And I do believe that some of the stores sold hamsters, if I'm remembering correctly. But I know for a fact, yes, in fact, Walmart donned fish tanks. Are you from that dimension? I am, I know, hands down, because I actually bought my son a fish from Walmart, which ironically rolled back only 3 days after we bought it. To its back. Oh, maybe that's where they got rolled back from. Oh, origins. Yeah. I digress. That was horrible. Y'all, did Auntie literally just switch dimensions right before your very eyes? Did you notice that? The first part of my video was dark. Not like emotionally dark, but physically dark. And then suddenly, boom, it was bright. Ooh, I hope I slid back. Can somebody tell me if Jiffy exists now? Because I miss it. It was good. Anyways, the other Mandela effects that got me scratching my noggin because, ooh, anybody of my generation can tell you, something's amiss with the Wizard of Oz. Do y'all remember the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man carrying weapons at some point? Because they do now. In fact, the old Scarecrow, he carries a pistola, a pew-pew. The Tin Man carries a wrench of some sort, And the lion carries a massive mallet? A big old hammer? Yeah, I don't remember any of that. Do you? I don't know. Let me know in the comments, yo.
Loops is not spelled Fruit Loops. It's spelled Fruit Loops. The Mandela effect is gonna have you second guessing some things. Cruella never wore a Dalmatian coat. Her coat was always plain. Another Mandela effect is the Coca-Cola logo. Now we all know it has a dash, but which dash is the correct one? Just when I thought I was right, I got it wrong. Fun fact, Coca-Cola actually had coca in it. I'm talking booger sugar. If you ever watched Scooby-Doo, then you will remember that Shaggy had a big Adam's apple. Now when you look at those same episodes, you realize that it was never there.
So Shaggy absolutely did have the Adam's apple. I remember, because every time he got scared or spooked, he would swallow real hard and that Adam's apple would go up and down. See, some of y'all millennials, some of y'all might be too young to remember stuff like this. But see, this is our childhood. I'm a 76 baby. I remember Saturday mornings sitting up from 6 a.m. to about 2 p.m. watching cartoons, eating a bowl of cereal on the floor in front of the floor model TV. So you're not going to play with me about my cartoon. Let me know if you remember an Adam's apple.
Which bugged me out so much that I made it my life goal to find it. Although he could have just been swallowing, pause, I know I'm not the only one with these Mandela effects. So it's either they didn't put their devices on high, or people just out here tripping.
Behind me are two spellings of a very popular fast food chain. I want you to look at the two spellings and in your mind, tell me which one is correct. Chick-fil-A with a C or Chick-fil-A with a K? Which one looks familiar? Chick-fil-A with a C or Chick-fil-A with a K? If your memory recalls Chick-fil-A with one C and no K, welcome to your newest timeline. We're glad to have you. A quick Google search and you will find K's, Chick-fil-A only with a K. Now, I know a lot of you will be like, well, it's always had a K. I have proof that there hasn't always been a K. Okay, so this is a screen grab from another video about this. This is a image from a training video for Chick-fil-A, and I just want you to check out his shirt. See that? I definitely remember it with a C, but I'm not like a hardcore Chick-fil-A fan. I think I've only eaten there a couple times, but I've driven past it 1,000 times. And I'm very familiar with what the logo looks like. And there was never a K.
These 6 Mandela effects from your childhood are going to make you question everything that you thought you knew. Number 1, do you remember this family of bears? What was their name? Were they the Berenstain Bears or were they the Berenstain Bears? Berenstain doesn't even sound right. I remember them being the Berenstain Bears. But in our current reality, they have always been the Berenstain Bears. The authors even have that same last name, so that's how you know. Next up, which one of these Curious George pictures looks like the Curious George that you remember? Do you remember Curious George having a tail or no tail? Many people have vivid memories of Curious George not only having a tail, but hanging from it off the ceiling and off of different things. But it turns out, in our current reality, Curious George has never had a tail. So if you remember Curious George having a tail, then I guess you jumped out of the same parallel reality that I did. What about Pikachu? If you were like me, you probably watched Pokemon almost every single day before school, or at least on the weekends. I distinctly remember Pikachu having a black tip at the end of his tail. But it turns out Pikachu never had a black tip on the tail. It's always just been solid yellow. Which one do you remember? Then, of course, we have our favorite prehistoric family, the Flintstones. Wait, did you hear what I just said? I said Flintstones. It's actually Flintstones.
They have something against us. I know it. You're not going to be able to convince me otherwise. They really have something against us. This is why they're playing with our childhood like this. Because you're not going to tell me that Flintstones had more than one T. There was always one T. Flintstone. That was the name of the show. One big T that stood out above everything else. Next thing, they're going to try to convince us that he didn't run with his feet on the ground to start the car. Yeah, what are we doing? What universe is this? That's the real question. I forgot. It's the universe where my coochie pink, my booty hole brown tops the chart. I get it. Once that happened, I knew something was wrong. So I get it.
In our current reality. While I do understand the play on words with Flint and Stone, I only remember it being the Flintstones, not the Flintstones. So if you remember the Flintstones, then you probably jumped to the same parallel reality that I did. Looney Tunes. It's iconic. We all know Looney Tunes. We all grew up watching Bugs Bunny. And if you didn't, I'm sorry that you lived a very deprived life. Do you remember Looney Tunes being spelled like tunes like cartoons? Or do you remember tunes like music tunes with a U? I personally know that it was tunes like cartoons, Toons. But it turns out that in our current reality, it's always been tunes like songs, Tunes. Last but not least, we have Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. This is a subtle detail, but a memorable one. Do you remember Shaggy having an Adam's apple? Yes or no? It turns out that in our current reality, Shaggy has never had an Adam's apple, but everybody remembers it that way. Or I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people do. So if you remember Shaggy having an Adam's apple, you probably jumped out of the same parallel reality that I did. How many of these did you get right in our current reality? And how many of you think you jumped out of a parallel universe?
You're not gonna sit and call me a liar in my face and tell me that this was never a thing, because it was. I remember this being on the buildings, on the VeggieTale books, on that little kids cup, the kids cup that used to look like an upside down trapezoid that had the wide mouth. Yeah. What I also remember is a bunch of Chick-fil-A's in my state doing a bunch of different renovations, and it looks more crowded to me. It looks more crowded now as CHIC. Okay, so call me what you want. I don't believe y'all, and y'all not gonna make me believe that this was never a thing, because it was.
I distinctly remember Macaulay Culkin dying from a drug overdose, and I get a very ominous feeling whenever I see a photo of him. I had always just chopped it up as being young and misinformed about what actually happened with him until I realized this was actually a Mandela effect. A lot of people remember this. And I found this comment section in another girl's video where she was talking about Raven-Symoné having children but not being able to find evidence of that anywhere either. Now this I found very interesting because I also distinctly remember this. I remember not giving a damn about Raven-Symoné after my very young ages of watching That's So Raven until one day she came out as gay, and the very first thing I did was search Raven-Symoné children because I had just not looked her up in a while and I was curious, and nothing came up. You could not find any evidence that she had ever had children. Now, if y'all ever seen House Party, this theory goes very well with what I'm about to say.
Illuminati scene with Kid Cudi, I was like, are you fucking...
Spoiler alert if you haven't already seen it, but Kid Cudi takes them to an Illuminati party because they need to get a copy of the championship ring. And while they were there, Kid Cudi gets killed, and they're like, oh my god, you sacrificed your life for us, blah blah blah. And he's like, don't worry, they gonna bring me back. I'm like the fourth Cudi. Now, our boy Kanye is probably one of the most talked about celebrities that has disappeared and then come back very different. Doesn't seem like himself. Same thing with like Jamie Foxx. And I can name lots and lots and lots of other celebrities that have either mentioned having to sacrifice someone important to them in order to get the fame that they have, or do something that they wish they didn't have to do. Now, this is no surprise with like all these interviews coming out with people like Monique giving the truth about what you really have to do for the utmost fame in Hollywood. Hollywood is very evil, and they're always showing us what they're doing, but everyone wants to believe it is fiction, which is why they maintain the power. It's the illusion. All of this is my opinion. It's theorized and alleged, but just saying. Comment down below your favorite Mandela effect, because I want to know if there's more that I'm not thinking of, and it could be literally any Mandela effect. I love the Berenstain Bears one, Curious George, Oreos, Jiffy peanut butter. There's so many I can come up with.
Humans weren't meant to see. The U.S. government is currently attempting to erase our history in front of our eyes. Citizens were terrified after a woman was facing a dystopian reality after living through a time in history, and officials were attempting to completely erase all proof of that timeline ever existing, and it's working. People don't just recall that the Fruit of the Loom logo had a cornucopia in it, but there has been proof, and the company still just denies it. Many were saying that they are hiding something in an attempt to do something much darker, as the company and the government went as far as to allegedly destroy the original trademark files. But why? The woman who noticed this went mad and started to go into a deep spiral. She started running through her closet and her friends' closets, and she was terrified when she actually found a shirt that had the alleged original logo. Many were terrified if this was an experiment of the government trying to erase history in front of her eyes and trying to prove how easily they can do it. On the flip side, others have said that no-name brands often like to rip off bigger brands, and given the popularity of the photo film logo with the cornucopia on it, it's not unheard of for a no-name brand to rip off a logo from Google. And what we can see in the trademark website is the official trademark photo doesn't have the cornucopia.
Mandela effects that I can guarantee you have not seen before. These will genuinely blow your mind and make you question everything. Now, unless you want to be absolutely terrified out of your mind, then just keep on scrolling. Honestly, this will keep you up all goddamn night. First up, Disney. Probably everyone remembers this. Yeah, Tinkerbell dotting the I in the intros. I remember this vividly, like I clearly remember this happened. Well, it didn't. And it never did. What? A lot of people swear that they remember a robber emoji and a hiker emoji which looks similar to this one right here. Now, especially the robber one, I remember that extremely clearly. Like, I used that, I swear. But it never existed. Apple didn't remove it or anything, it just never existed. Now, your parents will no doubtably remember the book and everything, The Bernstein Bears. It was extremely famous. Everybody knows it was called The Bernstein Bears. But it's always been called The Bernstein Bears.
Crazy Mandela effects that have blown my mind and kinda pissed me off, to be honest. Let's go. I don't know about you, but I clearly remember a robber emoji, right? Did you too? Because I did. I clearly remember it, but apparently it was never a thing. It never entered our devices. It was never a thing. It's not even in any kind of records, any kind of like, you know, coding or anything like that. But it was though, wasn't it? It was, let's be honest. Same with this Donny. Oh, she never did all this sparkling and did it, you know, with a wand. Apparently it was never a thing and it never existed. But I clearly remember it from somewhere, so who's lying here? Because I do remember it. Then we've got Cheez-Its and Cheez-It. Well, that don't make sense, Cheez-It. It's Cheez-Its, mate. Apparently, that Z at the end was never a thing. It was always Cheez-It. I don't think so. We've got Pikachu's tail. Apparently it never had the black tip. It always had, you know, just normal yellow with a bit of brown at the bottom. But why do I remember a Pikachu with a black tip? It was never a thing, apparently. And here we have the Monopoly guy's monocle. That was never a thing. It was always this, apparently. But no, it wasn't, because I remember him having one of these, you know what I mean? Even on Ace Ventura, he's wearing a flipping monocle. The Monopoly guy. You know what I mean? That's not obviously not the real Monopoly guy, but it always had a monocle, but apparently it never did. Then we've got Febreze, and then we've got Febreze. I'm not being funny, mate. I've never looked at one of these and just looking that boring. It's always had two E's in it, mate. Febreze. Always. It's like Looney Tunes. It's always been tunes like this, not like this. But no, apparently this wasn't a thing. It was always this. I'm not being funny, mate. Who's took my body and put it in a different flipping, you know, universe or something? Because I remember all this stuff. I know this were a thing. Let me know.
Okay, so I have Mandela effects all over my TikTok. I'm in some weird Mandela effect algorithm. So I need to weigh in on the Snow White Mandela effect. Now, some of us remember it as the evil witch or evil queen going to the mirror and saying, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" But apparently the Mandela effect is that she always said, "Magic mirror on the wall." Now, I don't believe that to be true. I call horseshit. I know it was mirror, mirror. But I've been looking for videos that says mirror, mirror, and I can't find one. So I found this one from 9 years ago. And listen to what it says. But I have proof that it's mirror, mirror. Hold on. Okay, look. I typed in original mirror theme Snow White. Found this one from 9 years ago.
Slave in the magic mirror, come from the farthest space. Through wind and darkness I summon thee. Let me see thy face. mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
She didn't say no damn magic mirror on the wall. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? I know, because as kids we used to look in the mirror and say the same damn thing. Ooh, they making me mad. Where do they get this stuff from? The same way Tinkerbell used to fly out on the screen and write the word Disney with her wand and dot the I with it, and it sparkled. I'm an avid Disney watcher. I've always loved Disney. That's why they not gonna convince me Mickey Mouse didn't have no damn suspenders and had a tail. In what damn world? Keep telling y'all, this world is weird. It's a different world from where we came from. Cause what?
Right. I heard magic mirror too. Are we in a parallel universe? Right, but now I remember. It was Mirror, Mirror on the Wall because I had a book when I was a little girl. It was my favorite book in the entire world. It's a Disney book that had all of the stories, all the Disney stories written out. And I used to read this book obsessively when I was little. And I still have it. Now, I was little like 40 years ago. So this book is 4 decades old. Watch. Okay, so I have Mandela.
Let's revisit some of our favorite Disney Mandela effects. First one is pertaining to the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. There's a very famous line that this cat says. Many people remember it as, "We're all mad here." But the real line in the current reality that we're living in is most everyone is mad here. So do you remember most everyone is mad here or we're all mad here? Because the line "we're all mad here" has never been said in the movie. The next one is from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We all know the Hi-Ho song, but do we really? Many people remember the line from the song, "Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to work we go." But what if I told you that in the current reality that we're living in, that was never said? The line in our current reality is, "Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's home from work we go." They never ever said, "It's off to work we go" in the current reality that we're living in. The next one I have for you is about the intro during a lot of the movies, you know, where it's playing like the theme music and they're showing like this little logo up here. A lot of people remember Tinkerbell kind of flying by and using her little magic to dot the I in Disney. Well, it turns out that in our current reality, that never happened. You never see Tinkerbell in the intro. So if you remember seeing Tinkerbell, you're not from this reality. Up next, we have Cruella de Vil. How do you remember her name being spelled? Do you remember it being spelled DeVille or DeVille? Turns out there's never been an E at the end in our current reality, so if you remember an E, then you probably jumped out of the same parallel reality that I did. Okay, for Mickey Mouse, there's actually 2. The first one being, do you remember Mickey Mouse having suspenders or no suspenders? Turns out in our current reality, Mickey Mouse has never worn suspenders. So if you remember suspenders, you're not from here. And the other one is about Mickey Mouse having a tail or not. So do you remember Mickey Mouse having a tail or do you remember Mickey Mouse having no tail? A lot of people say that they remember Mickey Mouse having no tail, but in the current reality that we're living in, Mickey Mouse has always had a tail, even back to the Steamboat Willie days. This is a favorite for me. So there's a very famous line in Snow White. It goes, "Blank mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" Do you remember it as mirror, mirror on the wall or magic mirror on the wall? Most people remember it as mirror, mirror on the wall, but that line was never said in the movie. It's always been magic mirror in the current reality that we're living in. Next up, we have the name of this iconic castle that lives at Disney World. Do you remember it as Cinderella Castle or Cinderella's Castle? Turns out in our current reality, it's always just been Cinderella Castle because this castle is not the castle from the movie Cinderella. So it's not Cinderella's castle. It's just a castle built in honor of Cinderella. So there's no apostrophe S. And while we're on the topic of Cinderella, our next one is, do you remember being able to see Cinderella's ears like in this photo? Or do you remember not being able to see Cinderella's ears, having them be kind of like covered? It turns out in our current reality, we have never been able to see Cinderella's ears. So this one is completely wrong, and this is the one that it's always been. So if you remember being able to see Cinderella's ears, I'm sorry, but you probably jumped out of the same parallel reality that I did. In the Jungle Book, there's a really iconic scene where Baloo kind of dresses up like kind of feminine and has a coconut bra and a coconut mask. But what if I told you that actually never happened in our current reality? It was never a thing. It was always this. He always had just the mask, but he never wore a coconut bra in the current reality that we're living in. Back to Alice in Wonderland, we have Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Do you remember them having flags coming out of their hat or propellers? Most people I talk to, including myself, remember Tweedledee and Tweedledum having propellers coming out of their hats. Turns out, in the current reality that we're living in, it's always been flags. And lastly, we have the Sword and the Stone. It seems like it should be called the Sword and the Stone for a reason, right? Because the sword is in the stone. So to me, I remember the sword being in a stone. But it turns out that in the current reality that we're living in, the sword has always been in an anvil. So if you remember the stone and you don't remember the anvil, you probably jumped out of the same parallel reality that I did. So tell me, how many of these did you get right and how many did you get wrong?
The effects that upset me the most. This timeline really did the Monopoly Man dirty because they took away his monocle. I'd give anything for a box of Cheez-Its, but since they don't exist, I'll settle for the real deal, which is a box of Cheez-It. Smokey the Bear wants to keep the world from burning down. Wrong, his name's actually Smokey Bear. Luke, I am your father. Wrong. It's no, I am your father. I love Febreze as much as the next gal, but if you want to be in this timeline, you have to take out one of the E's. I know what a cornucopia is because when I was younger, I was shopping with my mom at JCPenney and I asked her what was on the Fruit of the Loom logo and she said it was a cornucopia, and I'm so grateful for my incredible imagination for making up the cornucopia that has never existed in the Fruit of the Loom logo. I've always loved the Laughing Cow's nose ring until I found out it doesn't exist. Another style I truly admired was that of the Raisin Bran sun, especially the sunglasses, which I apparently made up. I love Jiffy peanut butter, even though the company is trying to gaslight me into believing that it's always been called Jif. Iconic, iconic, iconic. Too bad the microphone was never a part of the iconic-y. Loved when Curious George would swing around from his tail, except for that he never had one. That's okay, because Mickey Mouse has had a tail all along. What he never had, however, was suspenders, which is odd since I have memories of him snapping them while driving the boat.
Dimensions are beginning to mesh together.
There's a whole thread on Twitter that just literally blew my mind. If y'all have not read that thread, I highly suggest you do it. It's by Nick Hinton. So the Mandela effect debate about the Statue of Liberty is whether or not it's on Ellis Island or Liberty Island.
Press pause, because now we need to journey back to school. Drop in the comments and let me know if you remember in school the Statue of Liberty being on Ellis Island. Please drop in the comments. I remember it being on Ellis Island. Today, years old, learning what a Liberty Island was. So what, they systematically erased the history books too? Because we discussed the Statue of Liberty. We discussed the immigrants having to come through Ellis Island through the Statue of Liberty to enter America. So we're all remembering something different, that now they're trying to tell us it's Liberty Island instead of Ellis Island. They want us to go crazy. That's what it is. They want us to dwell on this so long that we go crazy. Somebody please red pill me. Where is Morpheus when we need him? Because I'm over this program. Whatever alternate universe we have slipped into, I want to slip back. Because this is weird. And weird makes me nervous. Let me know what you remember. Because it's stressing me out.
And depending on which dimension you are in, it depends on which island the statue is actually in. I know that sounds crazy, but let's get into it. So here in this picture, it's actually on Liberty Island. But in this painting, it's on Ellis Island. And these images from Google Maps on the street view show that just the bottom of the statue is on Liberty Island. The rest of the statue is just gone. What? How is half of the statue there? But it gets even weirder. The account that uploaded those pictures goes by the username August Bartholdi, who was the designer of Lady Liberty. And the account also has his picture from the 1800s, and he's verified by Google. What? I'm so confused. And to make things even stranger, when the Statue of Liberty was on Ellis Island, you could go up into the torch. There's a lot of people that remember going up into the Statue of Liberty and going into the torch. But with the Statue of Liberty being on Liberty Island, you're not allowed to go into the torch. And I think the craziest thing of all is all the pictures that people have uploaded to the internet where they're standing in front of the Statue of Liberty, but the Statue of Liberty is not there. But it was there when they took the pictures. And they were on Ellis Island. It's not there. Statue of Liberty is gone. Here's another one taken from Ellis Island with the Statue of Liberty gone. Pictures of the background with open water. The Statue of Liberty is nowhere to be seen. Oh, Statue of Liberty, just open water. I'm telling you, there's something up with this flagpole right here. In some of the pictures, that flagpole is there, But the pictures where the Statue of Liberty is behind them, that flagpole's not there. See, there's that flagpole again. The Statue of Liberty's not there though. There's that flag again. And again. As you can see, they're tagging Ellis Island because that's where the Statue of Liberty is at when they're taking the pictures. I don't know, y'all. I think this is just some crazy Mandela effect, but what do y'all think?
Mandela effects that you probably don't remember. So many people remember Jackie Robinson as breaking the MLB color barrier, but it was actually William White in 1879 who was the first black baseball player. However, he was a closeted black man, and the first openly black baseball player was Moses Walker in 1883. Quick, how many people were in the car when JFK was shot? Not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 people. It was a modified car with 3 rows for his wife, 2 Secret Service agents, and the Texas governor and his wife. You probably remember Shaggy as having a protruding Adam's apple, but he doesn't actually have one at all. The Raisin Bran son has glasses, right? Wrong, he doesn't actually have any glasses. Many people remember the Mona Lisa to be fairly stoic in expression with a slight smirk on her face, but she actually sports a pretty noticeable smile. Popular to contrary belief, this isn't the Starbucks logo because she actually has a star where the tip of the crown supposedly is. And lastly, you see this every day, but what's the correct order for a traffic light? If you said green on top, you'd be wrong. Pretty cool, right?
Most weird Mandela effects. Do you remember Cruella de Vil's coat with Dalmatian spots? Apparently it never had spots. Pikachu with a black tail. People say he's never had a black tail. The bucket list phrase wasn't around until the movie came out in 2007. Air Jordan Jumpman now has pants. Mississippi no longer the longest river in the United States. The Berenstain Bears spelled with a U-R-A.
This creeps me out, man. I don't like to be in this room anymore. I sleep in here. Look at that. That shit is changing. Right?
Remember how I said we just recently jumped a massive timeline, like collectively? So evidently I'm a little late to the party on this, but we have a new Mandela effect. I'm not saying the two are related, but... So who else is on the timeline where Richard Simmons passed away, like, a decade ago? Just me? I don't think it's just me, because I've seen a couple of other creators being like, what the actual... There's another Mandela effect surrounding Richard Simmons as well. May he rest in peace, by the way. The Mandela effect being that he no longer is shown wearing any headbands, and I remember growing up watching his aerobics videos. My mom was super into aerobics. He had headbands. They were, I think the one I remember was pink. So yeah, there's some shit going on, y'all.
Claims to be able to see into a parallel dimension with bolts.
I'm going to show you guys video evidence of the Mandela effect. But what is the Mandela effect? It's a very strange phenomenon where a large group of people remember a past event very differently from what is believed to be today. For instance, Nelson Mandela, he died in 2013, but a lot of people remember him dying in the 1980s. The same thing with Looney Tunes, and the same thing with the Monopoly guy, and the list goes on. But how do we explain such a thing? A lot of people believe that we're not living in the same alternate reality that we were in 10, 20, 30 years ago. But what happened? Why? And when? And why? Is there any video evidence of such a thing? An internet account by the name of The Thought Police has been recording strange videos of this very old phone. And a lot of people believe that this old phone is actually capable of recording glimpses of this alternate reality that we do not live in anymore. Here's one, for instance. I'm going to show you guys a couple of videos, starting with this one from Britney Spears. A lot of people remember her using a plaid skirt in this video clip, but she's not using a plaid skirt anymore. Here he goes with the phone camera. A plaid skirt. She never used a plaid skirt. In this video clip, for instance, a lot of people remember Britney Spears using a microphone. Here he goes with the camera, the microphone. But she never did use a microphone. What is going on? The same thing with the laughing cow cheese. See how he passes his finger in front of the camera to prove this is not CGI. This is not a camera trickery. You see? Check that out. What is going on here? The same thing with the Monopoly guy. He's using a monocle. I remember him using a monocle, but he never did. If you search for Google, if you Google search him, the Monopoly guy, it says that he never used the monocle. What is going on?
There's no T in Skechers.
Wait, what did he just say?
There's no T in Skechers.
I always remember there being a T in Skechers. Skechers, like, it's in there. I was 10 years old. I specifically got this pair of Skechers to wear to Disneyland for comfort. And I remember there being a T. Like, I remember the T. Look, there's videos of people spelling Skechers with the T all over the place. Here's another one, Skechers with the T. Even this one, it has a T in it. I found this old Reddit forum from 8 years ago, and people are just kind of like, what the hell's going on? Because they always remember the T being there. It was always Skechers with the T to me. I can't remember it not having a T in it. Wait, is it not Skechers with the T? We're definitely gonna find like an old commercial with the T and Skechers. Okay, maybe there never was a T, because this looks familiar, but the more I look at it, the more unfamiliar it looks.
Remember when this guy filmed the Mandela Effect live?
This creeps me out, man. I don't even like to be in this room anymore. When I sleep in here, you look at that. That shit is changing. It is changing.
I'm sure you've heard of the Mandela Effect by now. This phenomenon started in the year 2013, when the former president of South Africa passed away on December 5th of 2013. When the world was mourning his death, thousands of people around the world had a vivid memory of him passing away in prison during the 80s. This became known as the Mandela Effect. However, the term actually came up in 2010, when a woman named Fiona Broome realized Nelson Mandela was still alive. Her and many others even remembered the ceremonies on the news, the widow's speech. After Nelson Mandela's passing, mainstream media picked it up and called it collective false memories. But are these truly false memories? Or is this evidence of multiple timelines and parallel universes? In this series, we're going to look at some popular Mandela effects, but we're also going to explore the idea of collapsed timelines, the possible time wars, yes, time wars, that are occurring in the future to manipulate our present timeline. We're going to look at what CERN might possibly have to do with this. And if these are truly false memories, then why is there only two options? If it was false memories, don't you think there'd be hundreds of different ways that people remembered things? But it's always two distinct things that are very close. Now, the Mandela effect became really popular when people began to notice that the popular children's book that most of us read as children was the Berenstain Bears, not the Berenstein Bears. And wait, didn't the Monopoly man have a monocle? Why doesn't he have one now? I could have sworn it was the Flintstones, not the Flintstones. Do you remember Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes? Was it Oscar Mayer with an E or Oscar Mayer with an A? I could have swore that Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia, but I guess it didn't. I could have swore that Tweedledee and Tweedledum had a little propeller on their hat, not a green flag. And was Cruella de Vil always spelled de Vil? Was it Cocoa Puffs or Cocoa Puffs? Many people remember the Mona Lisa looking like this, although today she's smiling. These little Debbie cakes, there's no line dividing them, but many people remember a small line that you could break it into two. I could have sworn Curious George had a tail, but he doesn't anymore. We all remember Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, who's the fairest of them all. Apparently she said Magic Mirror on the Wall.
The famous quote, "Luke, I am your father," never exactly happened. It was just, "I am your father." Another famous quote, "Hello, Clarice," from Silence of the Lambs, isn't in the movie. He just says good morning. Now this one hits close to home. The famous line, "Lucy, you got some splaining to do," never happened.
That each of your dreams could be a glimpse of a parallel life you are leading in another universe? Brace yourself. This will give you shivers. There's a theory suggesting that our dreams aren't merely figments of our imagination, but real glimpses into other dimensions where a version of ourselves is living a slightly or radically different life. Each time you wake up from a dream that felt incredibly real, it might be because it was real, but in a parallel world. The decisions you made in that dream are reflecting choices you've made in another life. It's a concept of the multiverse that broadens the horizons of what we consider our reality. In other words, your dream last night was not just a dream. It was a day in your life in another universe. And every night you get the chance to visit this other you, to explore paths you haven't taken here. It raises a dizzying question. What if the you in that universe is dreaming about your current life right now? It's an endless loop of possibilities and coexisting realities.
What happened was, I bought 2 water bottles like this. I have a little basket. I put both of the water bottles in. They were ice cold, like right out of the fridge. I opened it up and I started chugging it. Put the cap back on, set it back into my stroller, wiped my mouth because I had hella water dripping off my chin. And I'm here with like my mom and my kids, my husband, and my daughter comes out and she's like, "You guys didn't pay for my stuff." So everyone starts freaking out, like, you know, she's having like a whole little fit. I go to take another drink. I reach to grab my water and I notice that it's full still. So I grab the other water and I notice that it's full. So I'm thinking maybe the pressure from like the heat, it being open, maybe it kind of like suctioned back up and looked full. So I start trying to twist the caps open. They're both fucking sealed. To be honest, this whole experience scared the fuck out of me. It was really scary. Like I could feel myself drinking the water, wiping the water from my chin, and looking and seeing that both bottles were sealed. I was like, what the fuck? I know exactly what happened, but I can't make it make sense. I think if I had been alone when this happened, I would have just kind of brushed it off, but because my family was there and everybody watched me drinking the water, I feel extremely validated, but also invalidated because it makes no sense. When I was drinking the water and on the way back home, I felt like it was like an outer body experience. I almost was seeing in like third person POV. A lot of people have asked me if I notice anything different since having that whole experience, and I have to say I have. There's this whole theory about a jump in timelines or a shift in dimensions, alternate realities, and I truly believe that I experienced something along those lines when that happened. So yes, my life has changed. I noticed significant changes in my whole life. My world, my surroundings, it feels different. It's something I can't explain. It's something that will never make sense to me, but it's something that I experienced, and I think it's very cool, but it's also extremely frightening.
God, guys. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm confused about this backyard here. Oh. Like, this is supposed to be my backyard, right? And then when I go downstairs, I know it's not gonna be the same. What the? I'm literally confused. I swear. I don't know. Like, where's all my cans?
I think she's lagging in real life. What is happening? What? What? What?
A timeline or dimension shifting glitch in the Matrix experience that you guys have tagged me and watched.
If you've never experienced a glitch in the Matrix, this is probably not the video for you, so just continue scrolling because you're going to think that I'm crazy. if you have experienced it, I want to know if anyone has experienced anything similar to this, especially from a young age. So I've had multiple glitches throughout my life, especially now that I've gotten older, I can understand what's happening. But I want to talk about the very first one. The very first one that I can remember that I was like, am I crazy or are all of you crazy? So this is around 4th or 5th grade, elementary school. My grandma would pick me up from school 2 to 3 times a week. We were very close. My grandma lived like rock throwing distance from my house. So I would literally travel up the creek through the woods to my grandmother's house that I would go. I would spend all my time with my grandma. So after school, she would pick me up and we would go to Wendy's. That was our thing. We loved Wendy's. My grandma has very prominent blue eyes, like crystal clear. It's a very prominent feature about my grandma that she has very blue, piercing crystal blue eyes. So this one day, she picks me up, we go to Wendy's, we're sitting in the glass area. If you know Wendy's back then you know what I'm talking about. We're sitting there eating our fries and I look up at my grandma and my grandma has brown eyes. They're brown. And so naturally I was like, Grandma, your eyes are brown. And she was like, yeah, Lauren, I have brown eyes. I was like, Grandma, no, you don't. You have very blue eyes. What do you mean you have blue eyes? And she was like, no, Lauren, I have brown eyes. So whatever, we eat. She takes me home and this is the whole thing. I talked to my mom too and I'm like, Mom, Grandma has brown eyes. And my mom was like, yeah, Grandma has brown eyes. No, she doesn't. She has blue eyes. What do you mean she has brown eyes? Like everyone knows that Grandma has blue eyes and everybody was making me believe that I was crazy. The next time that I see my grandma, 3 days later, my grandma has blue eyes again. So of course I'm like, Grandma, your eyes are blue. Why are your eyes blue? And she's like, yeah, Lauren, I have blue eyes. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? We just had this conversation 3 days ago when you had brown eyes and I told you that you had blue eyes and you're telling me that you have brown eyes, but I know that you have blue eyes. And now that you have blue eyes again, you're telling me that you know you have blue eyes? I'm not crazy. This was not a dream. I did not dream this. This happened. This was reality. I mean, it was like Monday on Thursday. Now you have blue eyes again? Like, I did not make this up. This is still with me to this day. I think about this to this day. My grandma had brown eyes that day that I went to Wendy's with her after school. I didn't make that shit up. Like, that was reality. I didn't miss a day. Like, this happened. Has anybody else ever experienced anything like that? With people's eyes changing colors? And they fully believe that their eyes were a different color. I'll never forget that.
So many people tagged me in this and it made me feel really weird. This is so crazy. You gotta watch. Hold on.
What I'm about to share with you is the scariest thing that has ever happened to me. If you know about manifestation, quantum jumping, spirituality, anything within that realm, you're gonna wanna hear this. I don't think you realize how real this shit is, how much this can fuck your mind up. It can fuck your life up. My wife and I had some fights today because of this. Everything is completely fine now. But enough of the bullshit, so here it is. The Earth has been changing. The Schumann resonance, you probably have heard of this. It's changing frequency. The second Earth, you've heard the stuff from Dolores. I've talked about this. Yada, yada, yada. We're on a different timeline. There's a higher vibration, okay? I received a text today, not on this phone that I'm recording on my personal phone. I received a text. The text used a name that my mother called me when I was younger and that my mother actually wanted to name me. The text said, hey, it's me. I don't want to say the person's name. I wanted to see when you want to hook up. I showed my wife this. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is really weird. She thought it was really weird, especially that name. And I said, I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number. And she said, you don't remember me? That we met at the gym. It started getting a lot weirder from here. She knew the gym I went to. She said that we met at the gym, that I introduced myself as this name, which is not my name. It's the name my mother had for me that she wanted to call me when I was younger. It was an inside thing between me and my mom when I was very, very young. I don't give my personal phone number to anybody. I don't care what it is, business related, anything like that. That is not me. I know there's going to be a lot of you in the comments that make your own assumptions. Go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want to do. So basically I called this person out saying, how did you get my number? What is all this about? I've never met you. They told me the day that they met me at the gym. My wife and I were not there. We were in San Diego. I truly started thinking it was some weird scam at this point. I'm going to throw this one out there. I basically said, how do I know you're not from a different timeline? When I said that, everything changed. The person started saying, I don't know. Actually, I kind of feel weird. I don't remember how I even got here. I've been tripped out the entire day on this. I have seen firsthand manifestations happen in my life. I've seen some profound mysteries of the universe, but I have never seen a timeline shift like this. Because the earth is changing, if you are of high vibration right now, be careful because your future timelines are going to start linking in with this. This has fucked my mind up the entire day. I've never met this person because they didn't meet me. They met an alternate version of me.
This is an incredibly shocking scene captured by surveillance cameras. After watching it, I couldn't calm down for a long time. It truly made me believe in the existence of parallel universes. In the footage, the girl is playing with her phone while cleaning. She quickly gathers the trash together, but just as she picks up the dustpan to collect the garbage, she suddenly notices that the broom has vanished into thin air. This sight completely baffles the girl, leaving her standing still in bewilderment. She can't comprehend how the broom she was holding just moments ago could disappear. Could it be a ghost? After several minutes of searching, the girl still can't find the vanished broom. Perplexed, she scratches her head and decides to grab another broom. She plans to finish her work first and then analyze what happened. Continuing with her task, the girl takes out a new broom to resume sweeping. Perhaps the captivating content on TikTok distracted her. Unfortunately, in her multitasking state, her phone coincidentally drops to the ground. The girl looks at her fallen phone with great distress. However, at that moment, she suddenly spots the missing broom, startling her to the point where she almost shouts for her mother. If it weren't for the surveillance footage, her experience today might have required a Nobel Prize-winning physicist to explain.
Tagged in this, and this person thinks that they are living in a simulation because their neighborhood is kind of like off and stuff happens on a loop. I'm going to let you watch the video in a second, and then after I'm going to show you a couple of the other comments. Hold on.
Alright, so my husband and I are pretty sure that we're living in a simulation. The neighborhood we moved into last year is very bizarre and things are kind of on a loop. So we've called it the loop. We're pretty sure it's a simulation and I'm going to start recording some of these things. But just for an example, I went to go get coffee this morning. It's about 10 minutes there and back for me to go get that. And when I left, I pulled out of the driveway. There was a woman who we see quite often with a stroller and a baby walking up and down the street. She was right at the end of my driveway when I left. When I got back, about 20 minutes later, she was in the same spot, moving very slowly, and I'm pretty sure it's a glitch. And when I say this lady was in the same spot, I mean she was in the same spot, not facing the other direction, coming back from like going to the end, turning around and coming back. She was still facing the same direction, going the same way, and basically in the same spot. I think I need to make this a series.
So then this was one comment. Before we moved, I saw a lady walking her dog anytime I left the house. And the creator was like, stop, this is one of the other things. Anytime we look out the front door or walk outside, there's another lady who immediately comes outside with her dog. Then this person said, a lady in my neighborhood has been walking the same baby in a stroller for 5 years. She's never pregnant, so it's not a new baby. Now I know that there's like so many people that have weird shit like this happen in their neighborhoods where they think it's like a simulation and there's like NPCs everywhere. I want to hear about them, so please put your experiences in the comments.
Listen, y'all, I don't care what anyone says. The little man on the Monopoly box definitely had a monocle. I played Monopoly too much to let you try to convince me otherwise. The Toons in Looney Tunes was definitely spelled Toons. Shaggy definitely had an Adam's apple. Curious George definitely had a tail. Pikachu had black on his tail. The Fruit of a Loom logo definitely had a cornucopia. Fruit Loops was absolutely spelled fruit like the fruit. It was definitely Berenstain Bear. Who the hell is Stain? Flintstones only had one T. There was definitely a jar of Jiffy. I ate it too much, especially the crunchy kind. Febreze absolutely has 2 E's. And the chick in Chick-fil-A didn't have no damn K. Oh, and the laughing cow definitely had a septum piercing. They absolutely will not erase our memory from our childhood. Hell, that's about all we got left in this new reality. Cause everything different. The people different. The leadership is different. Family is different. Friends are different. Hell, people don't even know what it means to be a friend anymore. Family is more like your enemies than family. Sometimes they your biggest ops. Drop in the comments and let me know if any that I might have missed. Do you have any weird Mandela effect or glitches in the Matrix that you've seen? Send them to me at champagnesecrets@gmail.com because I want to make more videos like this. Because I think there's a whole lot more going on than meets the eye that they're not going to tell us about. So guess what? We got to figure it out on our own. Ain't that how our government usually does us? Change stuff and leave us to figure out what the hell happened. But do y'all know what this makes me think of? So there was this movie that I watched. It was called Coherence. And in this movie, these group of friends decided to get together and have a dinner party. While they're at this dinner party, a comet flies overhead, right? After this comet flies overhead, all hell breaks loose. They run into several different versions of themselves. Check out this trailer because y'all need to see this movie if you haven't.
Amir's bringing Laurie to dinner.
Amir's a total jackass.
Everyone else still not have service?
I got zero.
On the news, you know, they're talking about the comet.
Yeah.
Wheeler's comet. After it passed, people get lost. They would end up in the wrong home. What? And they keep telling people that this can happen.
The chicken tastes like tuna. It must be Miller's comet. The whole neighborhood is out of power, except for a house about 2 blocks up.
What is that? Mike, is that door locked?
I'll check it.
Baby, stay away from the door.
I can't stand this. I'm gonna go see what's
Not
going on.
without
I'm sorry,
the
but I'm
rest
going.
of
See that?
Oh my God.
This is bad. This is really
Wait,
bad.
what's the box?
That was at the other house.
Oh my God. Baby, what did you see?
Hugh, what did you see?
We don't even belong here.
Everybody knew about
We
this.
thought
He
you
told
knew.
us.
He told us.
Everybody knew about this except me.
We have to just get through the night, okay?
We are not from this house. We are visitors. I'm crossing all kinds of boundaries. I don't want to be stuck here.
What is going on?
I'm so sorry. When you say...
Can you even imagine walking out of your house and seeing a you and you're not a twin, a triplet? I don't mean a doppelganger that looks like you. I mean seeing a you. What would you do if you got ready to go to work and you went into your job, went to the area in your job where you work at, and you are sitting at the desk? What would you do? How would you handle running into a you from an alternate universe? Drop in the comments and let me know if you believe in alternate universes. Do you believe that we're all in a simulation? This is just the Matrix and Morpheus just ain't showed up to offer us the red pill, because I promise you I'm taking the red one. Drop in the comments and let me know what you think about this video, what you think about the Mandela effect. Let me know if you've had any Mandela effects happen to you, like the young girl who 1 minute her grandmama had brown eyes, the next minute she had blue. Have you ever had any of those weird situations happen to you? Or even situations like you set something on the edge of your bed and you turn around to get it and it's gone. So you tear up your room looking for it, and later on in that night you turn back around and it's right there on the edge of the bed where you put it, but you know it wasn't just there 30 seconds ago, because that's why your room is tore up right now. If you've had any of those situations happen, drop in the comments and let me know. Have y'all hit that like button yet? I hope you've hit the like button. I would so appreciate it. Consider joining the Champagne Gang and the FizzFam. Y'all, we have fun over here. Our chats are not toxic. They are not negative. It's all full of love, fun, and positivity. I would have it no other way. So consider joining us. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified when we jump into whichever sector we jump into for another show, because this is one of the most diverse channels on YouTube. Who knows what we may cover next? For those of you who are not getting notifications, I think that's a YouTube thing, because I'm not monetized, so I'm not fully in the algorithm yet. So some people get notifications, some people don't. If you would like notifications and to make sure that you're present when the videos start, drop your @ in the comments and I will definitely save it. And when the video is getting ready to premiere, I will @ everyone who wants to be tagged so that you can get a notification. All right. Thank you for joining me again for another Secretzz Spill in the Champagne City. I think my next video is going to be on micronations. Have y'all heard of those? Baby, that's a whole nother rabbit hole that we can go down. But confidants, keep smiling, keep grinding, and always remember, if it doesn't cause you to elevate, it's causing you to depreciate. Now raise those glasses, clink, and let's drink till we meet again. Ta-ta.